Hi guys, it's Michele. Today we're gonna have a look at the tank called Conqueror, and today we're gonna first have a look at this armor model of this tank before going to the stats and all the other things. Now here's the armor model. Now, when you enter tier 8 and plus on the British line, you're gonna have something like a very good turret armor, very bad hull armor. That's the British design of these tanks, and you're gonna experience that especially in the Conqueror. Conqueror Carnarvon are played actually the same, though the Carnarvon has a bit weaker turret and it's a lower tier compared to Conqueror. But this is what Conqueror is good for. Hold down positions with his gun. Because let's start with the good sides of the armor. Cheeks of the turrets are very good. Gun mantlet is almost impenetrable to any kind of caliber of the guns. I actually laughed at the Panzer 100s with this kind of armor. 400 millimeters of armor, 560 on some parts, and let's say I had a situation when I managed to bounce a Panzer 100 with his AP round, and that was over the Death Star, so that was instant 1100 damage blocked. But if they choose to target you anywhere else, you're gonna have a very bad time, because over here there is 300 millimeters of armor, and only on the long ranges against the Death Stars this will bounce. But if you angle it a bit on the other cheek, there is 227 millimeters, and the enemy round goes straight through it, of the tier 10 tanks, let's say. But what you need actually to know is hide your lower hull. This is the weak spot, 100 millimeters of armor. The second weak spot is your upper plate, which has only 215 millimeters of armor, so any tier 8 or 7 that has more than 215 millimeters of penetration will actually manage to go through this. Also, your upper part of the tank is pretty bad, and it only has 53 millimeters of armor. This thing is actually a magnet for the RTs. RT love shooting those things and even one-shotting them if they manage to get over here. And if you survive by some miracle, you're gonna have massive problems with fires and knocked out crew members. Not to mention the Amorax. And also there is one small part that you need to hide. That's this thing over here. At the angle on the upper part is 184 millimeters, but if you angle it any further, it drops down dramatically up to 50 millimeters of armor. And this is actually the weak spot that the Conqueror needs to be feared for. Actually, the fear for the Conqueror drivers is this weak spot, to be honest with you. So if you're aiming at the enemy Conqueror, just aim over here and don't be upset about anything else, because it will penetrate definitely. Of course, if you go on the sides, as you can see, the armor starts to dim and it drops down to 69 millimeters of armor down to 38 millimeters of armor, combined with the engine deck that has 17. Just great. Though the Conqueror has some kind of protection in the spaced armor over here with these side skirts, but they are not a very good protection against AP rounds or the rounds that go just above the skirts and hit the whole armor. So those are the things about the armor. Let's jump into the garage, back in the garage, so I can talk about stats and all the little things about this tank. And now that we looked at the armor model, let's just say the survivability of this thing is 1950 points, and that the armor is pretty bad at the sides but good in the turret. Keep that in mind, because this is the joker of this tank. The gun on the Conqueror is phenomenal. It has 259 millimeters of penetration with the AP rounds, with the APCR 326 millimeters of penetration. I don't use much HE, but it's decent enough to be used for resetting the base and stuff. And the average damage is 400 per shot. Dispersion is 0.33, so you can at least snipe with this thing compared with the 1.9 aim time default on this gun. So this thing is about this gun, the turret armor and the gun. If you manage to use those two things, you're gonna have a phenomenal games in your Conqueror. Which I need to remind you, once you start researching, first go with the tracks, then go for the gun. The engine is the last thing. You already have the radio stuff researched, and at the end go for the tier 10. So that's the little things. What can I say what's bad about this tank? Mobility is not phenomenal, it's decent, but mobility wise it can go 34 kilometers frontally, 12 in the reverse, and 29 degrees of your traverse speed. Firepower though, you can at least go with the gun depression, which is pretty good, and gun elevation, which is decent, -7 to +15. Aiming time is, as you can see with my crew, dropped down to 1.7, and dispersion is barely above 0.30. It's actually 0.31. Average damage per minute is 2700 damage, which is also good. Your crew is gonna be composed like this. So, 6 sense is the must-have. Repairs are the second, but I managed to slot in a recon to increase my view range. So you're gonna have something like for your commander: 6 sense, recon, brothers in arms, and repairs. I'm gonna reset those things after I reach 60% on the 4th perk. So keep that in mind for my rest of my crew. Here for your gunner is Deadeye, snapshot, and also the same stuff, brothers in arms, repairs, once I reach there. After that you have smooth ride, clutch braking, and your repairs. And do the same reset, brothers in arms, then repairs. For your loader, save storage, adrenaline rush, and repairs. So you can reset it once you reach your fourth perk on the 60%. I mean, of course I'm mentioning resetting this thing with credits, don't waste gold unnecessary. So we have something like the large gun rammer, vents, and vertical stabilizer as your components that are gonna benefit the crew and the tank itself. So let's stop the boring talk, let's jump into the game so I can show you how this thing is played. Today we're gonna be playing on the Siegfried line, defending it a bit, and at the moment you have a couple of options. First, we don't have enemy artists in the game and we are top tier, which is very good. And we're gonna use that. First, I'm gonna go here where the TDs usually sits. But unfortunately our TDs are deciding to have a moment of a rush on the other side, so we'll leave them for now. And the Conqueror on this position is very good, you can have a decent amount of view on the line that's usually being crossed, and also you have a good field of fire on the enemy tanks, but the problem is you're gonna be spotted, as you saw it just here. And there are the enemy tanks rolling on the E6, and there's the enemy Waffenträger, that Rheinmetall Waffenträger that thinks he's a smart guy to be standing in the open without any armor. So before moving forward we need to make sure that no one is gonna use our weak hull and weak sides to shoot their shots at us. If we rush in, we're just gonna be going instantly back to garage. So even if the guy in my team pings on us, I'm not gonna move unless I'm certain that I'm gonna go without taking any shots in. So that's thing out of the way. Luckily for us, he is a little bit of downhill, and we can pick up some speed and easily relocate. But if we were to rely on the flat terrain acceleration, we're gonna have a bit longer time. So, Conqueror, what they said in starting garage: go hull down, point your gun up, use your armor, and you're gonna win. If you don't do that, and if you let them flank you or shoot at your weak spots, you are basically dead. And at this moment we just had a dirt moment by missing the Type 59. No matter, we're gonna rectify that by placing one shot into his back right about now, and he's definitely focused against R54 Mod 1. And while they have a little bit of chit chat, let's just finish him off. And there is the enemy VK. That's fortunately for us, he's stuck, and his armor has only 100mm in the turret, so we're gonna go at his turret. But as you can see, he doesn't aim quite well and doesn't penetrate our lower plate. So that's one of the first shots that I'm gonna bounce in this game. As you can see, Enemy Patriot and Yak Tiger are not pretty happy about the situation, but the enemy E75 is the priority target for us. We need to eliminate this guy to win this flank, and as you can see, he haven't been angling so well, so we had a flat side on him and managed to get one shot into him. And there is the enemy Schwarpanzer, which also managed to actually not penetrate us, which is pretty good for us. And at this moment, we are just hoping that the enemy Schwarpanzer or some other tank will make a mistake, like the E75. And as you can see over there, I just went backwards, forced him to fire at a bad angle, and he didn't manage to get me. Unfortunately, a Conqueror rushes in, and enemy Steyr has an easy shots on his side armor, and they basically peel down his HP very quickly. This is why the Conqueror is not a very good brawling tank, as you saw just there. So I'm bouncing from the Steyr, he only has my upper plate. The E75 blows my trucks up, the Steyr does the same, so they basically cannot penetrate me at this angle. Unfortunately, I bounced off the enemy E75, which by firing at his turret at an angle, so I'm thinking about getting HE shots in him, but I need that little cupola just for a split second so I can snipe it out. The E75 does his best to avoid my shots, and I'm wiggling my turret to make them harder to pen me, and the E75 stops and fires, and I fire back. He bounces, I don't bounce, and that's one E75 down. As well, the Steyr is a new tier 7 premium tank, TD, and bad news about him is doesn't have any armor. So he thinks he's gonna actually duke out against me to trade shots by shots. And I don't think he's gonna trade much longer, as you saw just there. So we managed to secure this position by destroying 2 enemy tanks that were in the critical locations. And there is the enemy Yak Tiger 88. He also does a bounce on me, so I don't know what's up with these guys, but no one seems to aim at my lower part of the tank. So we're gonna just destroy this Yak Tiger and check out my turret. Yep, as you can see, the ricochets are all over the place. So the enemy doesn't know actually where to aim, or maybe they were aiming in panic like that. Wolfentrager, Steyr. And there is the enemy Yak Tiger, we're gonna shoot one into him. And this time one guy remembers that I have a lower plate that only has 100mm of armor, and he shoots at me. And well, instead of going for the ram, I choose to fire at this guy on the move and hit him. So we have an enemy Yak Tiger and the Yak Panther. We're gonna turn to the Yak Panther, exposing only our turret, using this as a part of a cover. And as you saw there, enemy Yak Panther also managed to hit my gun mantlet, doing no damage at all, leaving at the end only Yak Panther at my mercy, and that's 5th enemy down and a victory for us. So let's jump into the scores so we can see what have we done in the game. So let me recapitalize all the things. Let me see how you now come to conclusion what this tank can do, if played right. So, Ace Tanker, Bruiser, Duelists, Fighter, Fire for Effect, Shell-Proof, Cool-Headed, Steel Wall, and High Caliber. Those are the rewards I managed to get. Plus, as you can see without a premium account, with just a few boosters on, I managed to earn quite a lot of money, and experience as well. Let's see the team score. Team score says like this: 5,315 damage done with 5 kills. Unfortunately, the 6th one got away a bit. And experience is 1,299 without any boosters. So this just shows you how good the Conqueror is with his gun and his performances, and with his armor, of course, if you play it right. Now let's see. Details: shots fired 20, hits 18, penetrations 16, damage already I said 5,300, and I've done a bit from the distance as well. Hits received 17, penetrations only 1 hit. So it's over there when the penetration happened, and the other just ricocheted off my gun mantlet, which brought me to the damage blocked was 4,530. That's quite a lot for a tank that should not be the primary blocking tank for the game. You expect these kind of results from E100. But if you play it right on your cooldown positions, you can do the same as I did just now. And even earn some credits by doing all of that. 24k damage, 24, sorry, k credits. That was their moment, 24k credits. And as you can see, quite a lot of this experience on ×2 with the multiplier, 3248. Which is not bad, even if I do say so myself. So, what can I say? Like if you do, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll catch you all next time. See ya.